Pro Group Management. Workers' comp that works for you.
I'm Rachel Dahl here on Nevada Newsmakers today for Sam Shad. I'll be visiting with Dr. Summer Stevens, who's the superintendent of schools in the Churchill County School District out in Fallon, and also Superintendent of the Year for the state of Nevada, today on an all-new Nevada Newsmakers.
I'm here at the Carson Valley Inn in Minden with Joey Whitaker. Entertainment here at the Carson Valley Inn is extraordinary.
Yeah, super proud of the TJ's Corral, our outdoor venue, about 1,500 seats. We've had first-class entertainment out there. We've had Merle Haggard, we've had Chris Young, we've had Lee Bryce a couple times, we've had Pat Benatar, Joan Jett, who's in the Hall of Fame. We're real proud out there, and it's just a great time. Watch CarsonValleyInn.com and grab those tickets early. It's not a long way to get away to the Carson Valley Inn.
Retail's impact on Nevada's economy? Enormous. 8,600 businesses, large and small, employing 145,000 workers. And last fiscal year, retail paid tax on nearly $60 billion in sales. We're the Retail Association of Nevada. We support retail, we help it grow, and we mean business.
RANNV.org.
What do you count on? You count on your power every day. At NV Energy, we've always powered what's important to you, but we're not looking at the past. We're focused on the future. While our standards are high, our rates will remain low. And our commitment to renewables isn't just meeting standards, but leading the way. Because you can count on more than just your power. You can count on the company who brings it to you. That's our promise. You can count on it.
Modern boutique Ahern Hotel and Event Center sits at the heart of the Las Vegas Strip. 2 floors of meeting and event space are ideal for groups and conventions. Stay in one of 200 luxurious rooms and suites. Brand your event throughout the property. Flexible event spaces make for easy planning and personalization. Take over the entire hotel with a full buyout option.
Save money and take transit. Did you know you can ride the bus all day for less than what it would cost you for a gallon of gas? Plan your trip now by going to rtcwashoe.com.
This is Nevada Newsmakers with host Sam Shad, a no-holds-barred political forum. Now, from the Nevada Newsmakers broadcast headquarters, here is Sam Shad.
Good morning, I'm Rachel Dahl on Nevada Newsmakers. Today we are with Summer Stevens, Dr. Summer Stevens. She's a superintendent of schools at Churchill County School District out in Fallon, and also the Superintendent of the Year for the state of Nevada for 2023. And you sit on the state school board.
Yes.
And I'm going to let you tell all the rest of the fabulous things that you do, because this show should be about you. And I'll just ramble on about you. And
that's all right.
And so in addition to all of those things.
So thank you for having me here today. So it's been great to have been named the Superintendent of the Year for 2023. I sit as a member of the Nevada Association of School Superintendents. I'm the past president. And one of the things that we do following that presidency is get an opportunity to sit as a non-voting member of the Nevada State Board of Education. And so that has been fantastic. Been serving on that board since July and will serve through June. I also have a great opportunity. I serve as the vice president of the United Way of Northern Nevada in the Sierra here in Reno. So I've been really fortunate to be part of that organization. Churchill County actually is their second leading fundraising county for the United Way, and so we want to keep increasing that in Churchill because we reap a lot of benefits over there for our kids in the county. So that has been awesome. Also, just being able to participate in the community in different ways. And that's really one of the highlights for me, and something that I grew up doing is just being an active member of a community. Got great role models in my parents. My mom once quit her job to buy the local newspaper so that it didn't go under. So those are the kind of experiences that I've had that make it really important to me. That's how we make a school a community, is that that we're integrated and involved.
I think that's been one of the most impressive things. You've been in Fallon how long
This
now?
is the middle of my 5th year. Yeah, the middle of my 5th year.
Okay.
Being in Nevada, so it's been great.
Yeah, and as soon as you came to our community as the superintendent, you came from Wyoming.
Mm-hmm.
You went to college in Nebraska.
Yep, and I'm from Nebraska originally. Yeah.
All right, but yeah, you jumped right in, and I think that's a really important part of being superintendent. Yes. Is seeing how the rest of the community works. That's a new concept. I think our superintendents in the past have been real focused on school, because I often wonder how you find the time to do all that you do, but it's been so good for the community to have you involved in the different things.
Thank you. I think that if we want to get where we want to go with kids and really change the future of learning for kids, we have to all be in. Right?
Yeah.
We have to. It has to be a concerted team effort. So when I arrived at the school district, we found that we didn't have a strategic plan at all, and that was something that they wanted to focus on. So we really started with some initial conversations with the community, like, what are the big rocks? What words do you think of when you think of Churchill County School District? What pictures? What are the things you want to see different? And that's how we identified those big rocks. But it started to give a voice, and then that led to just further work with really starting to identify what are those key themes that we want to start addressing and changing. The district had already started down the path of really reinventing learning for kids into more personalized and moving to the competency-based learning approach. And we still have a long way to go, but that started us out, in that method. And really, that's what we're seeing across the state, is that movement to personalized competency-based learning. The pandemic, with all of its unfortunate components, really did open us up to something that, I have spent my entire education career focused on personalized competency-based learning.
Right.
So that was one of the things that drew me to Fallon, to Churchill County, was that they had started the work. But what's exciting now is that that's a conversation point at the state legislature, at the State Board of Education, with the Department of Education, and other school districts in Nevada, really starting to see that change. That people want to move to personalized competency-based learning.
That's so exciting.
Yes.
And I love that the district had been moving in that direction and had done a lot of work to educate the community, number one, about personalized learning before the pandemic. So talk a little bit about did the pandemic help implement that and push it a little faster?
I think what it did was, at least we had been in the conversation, journey, and
it wasn't new.
It wasn't new, and so for us in Churchill, it really created a little bit better flow for us when we had to close down, and then as we strategized about how to reopen that next fall, in the fall of 2020, how to open, and we used what we knew about personalized learning and blended learning and using technology to spearhead what we were doing, and I think be a leader in the state of how that rolled out. We were able to do that pretty well. And again, it's ultimately, we have to think about all of the people. If you're an adult of any sort, 20s, 30s, 40s, all the way up to your 90s and 100s, like, school really has looked the same for you. And so people who teach still had a lot to learn. So even though kids are digital natives, and even some of our teachers are digital natives, there's still a lot to learn about how to use it effectively.
Right.
And so we're not quite where we want to be yet, but I think for our district, because we'd been having those conversations about, like, approaching learning for every single child in whatever, meeting every kid where they are, meeting every staff member where they are, and moving forward, that we were just positioned really well to transition, and the stressors at the initial parts of the pandemic were actually less.
Because teachers already had geared up to individualize.
And students,
That's
right?
so cool.
And so, we do definitely have a long way to go, but a lot of, again, education still to families, education to the community, because, again, we didn't experience, we experienced school where we came to school, we did what we were told, and we went home.
Right.
And did it again the next day, and we live in a time that is just so dynamic, and we have to be agile. And I think we're on the journey, definitely. And again, it's exciting to see that the state legislature, the Department of Ed, the state school board, and other districts, like, we're going to embrace this together in Nevada, I believe, to really transform learning for kids.
That's where I thought this would go. Talk about how that is rolling out at the state, and as you're involved in the different pieces of the Department of Education in Carson, how is what we were doing in Fallon kind of evolving at the state level? How's that rolling out now?
Sure. So one of the things that's been really exciting, prior to me getting here, the state did have a pilot. It was called the Competency-Based Education Network.
Okay.
And our middle school in Churchill County and a couple schools in Washoe County and a school in Clark County had actually joined the network. You had to apply. And we ended up then actually applying as a whole district right after that. So we participated. There were very few schools and or districts. There wasn't any necessarily money attached, but there was some legislation that allowed for that pilot.
Okay.
And I think that was really important. A lot of states around us and across the country have the ability to have districts of innovation, or ways that schools and districts can try new things. And have some of the other, the red tape, the NRS, the policies that are created, have some latitude to either pause or, move around and get opportunities to explore, right, and innovate. And so that was one opportunity to do that. That legislation, that pilot, has come to a close at this point. But there was some legislation. The state Department of Ed did implement something called the Blue Ribbon Commission, and parents and students and leaders and teachers and business and industry people from all over the state participated in that, gave a lot of ideas. And then actually in the last legislative session, we had a bill that allowed for distance learning to really become a little bit more prolific and not have all the same rules as the brick and mortar schools, the day-to-day, the in-person learning. And so what we're excited about is how that can continue. Senator Mo Dennis, myself, and Superintendent Joan Ebert actually have done some presentations across the country and been participating in that. But the beauty has been that the conversation's there. There's been some other legislators that have brought forward some ideas, but we had that piece of legislation that was really impactful, and hopefully we'll gain some more traction and then turn into some other legislation, right? We have a lot of legislation in Nevada that is pretty archaic, but it's just the way school has been, the traditional model, and it takes time. It takes time to educate people. It takes time to show models, but when you don't have that ability to, I guess, stop doing something for an opportunity to try out new things and innovate, that does really kind of handcuff you a bit. So that's what we are excited to try to keep doing. I know there's some legislation that's going to come out about districts of innovation and allowing local school boards to allow schools and the whole district to do some different things. And like I said, put a pause on the old way, so that you get a chance to try the new way. And one of the things that I think will continue to come about, we have a state accountability model. There's a lot of things in legislation around that at the state and national level, really, that we have to, demonstrate that our kids are learning. But one of the things that's going to help with that is the state is actually adopting a portrait of a learner that's going to say, like, what are our targets? What are we trying to shoot for here that we want all of our young people to leave our schools being able to do? What skill sets do we want them to have? What competencies? And then that allows us to have that opportunity to change the accountability model and not just be about tests and attendance and really concrete things, but rather help us grow kids individually and really grow them into the things that we want, so that Nevada is competitive, moving into the future.
So the portrait of accountability would, it's not going to replace, like, you will probably still have state standards, but then in a big picture, you have this portrait of what you want kids in a big picture to have. Is that
exactly? And then find ways to measure that. Right now we give tests, one-time snapshots. And we know that kids are more than Thursday. Right? Kids are a lot more than the Thursday that test was given. But the accountability model only really allows for us to look at Thursday. Or that they attended school in person and sat in that seat.
How many
hours. And so there's lots of ways that we learn and grow and experiences that kids have. And so that's going to allow, I believe, for us to change the legislation moving forward, because we have something to anchor to. That really does matter.
That's interesting.
And that people can get behind, right?
Right.
For sure.
Well, we have to take a little bit of a break, but when we come back, I want to go to the portrait of a learner, the profile of a learner, and talk about some of those specific goals that we're looking for kids to have.
Sounds good.
Thank you. We'll be right back on Nevada Newsmakers with Dr. Summer Stevens.
Pro Group Management is the place where companies can find workers' comp solutions that are designed to meet their specific business requirements. As regulations evolve, Pro Group takes a proactive approach to clear the path to make sure your business stays ahead of the curve. Knowing your workers' comp program is optimized, you can focus on other important matters related to your growing business. Pro Group Management, workers' comp that works for you.
I'm here at the Carson Valley Inn in Minden with Joey Whitaker, and you've got a lot of convention space and meeting breakout space for people. Tell us about what's available.
Well, we can handle a group up to about 250, and anywhere as small as 10 or 15. So it really depends on what you're looking for, what the customer's looking for. We're open to anything. It's a beautiful drive, and if you live in South Reno, it's probably about 30-35 minutes, so it's real easy to get to. It's not a long way to get away to the Carson Valley Inn.
Truck drivers are some of the hardest working people you'll meet, delivering over 70% of America's freight and 92% of Nevada's. When there's a natural disaster, they're delivering critical supplies to help those communities recover and rebuild. Every sector of the economy and our nation's military rely on truck drivers. So let's take a moment to say thank you. On the open road or city streets, our truck drivers are rolling to make our economy and our nation stronger. Trucking moves America forward.
Imagine a magical garden that feeds Carson City's hungry and homeless, teaches our high school students agriculture, creates hanging floral displays to beautify downtown, and yet charges nothing. It's not magic. It's the Greenhouse Project. It's real, it's growing, and it needs your help. Go online to carsоncitygreenhouse.org so together we can grow it forward.
This is Nevada Newsmakers.
We're back on Nevada Newsmakers with Dr. Summer Stevens, who's the superintendent of the Churchill County School District, talking about kids and
Yes.
and where kids are going these days. I love the idea of teachers and teachers being involved in all of this new evolution of education. I think we've done some really exciting things. I remember, because I taught at the district, I love this profile of a learner that we had, and we had that in my classroom and we wrote about it. We wrote about what each one of the pieces of the profile meant to kids. So, and you're wearing the t-shirt. So talk to us a little bit about what the district has done and what those specifics are: effective communicator, global citizen, and how that the state now is going to pick that idea up. That's exciting.
Excellent. Well, we were fortunate to be at the front end, Rachel, of this work, right? And we were fortunate to also have it prior to the pandemic. The pandemic put us back a little bit in terms of implementation, but when we wrote our strategic themes, you know, the district has 3 themes. One is that we want to ensure that all learners are life ready. Second, to develop the whole person. And third, to improve internal and external communication to build better partnerships. So all three of those themes really do tie back to the profile of a learner. And so our teams, we had a district strategic planning team that said, how do we ensure that all people are life ready? Right. How do we do that? And we chose the word learner because our district mission, at the time it was the vision, but it morphed into the mission, but our district's mission is everyone always learning. Right. And that means everyone. It means everyone who comes to school every day. If you're an adult or a child, it means the parents who are dropping kids off. It means our community. And we said we want to ensure that this profile, the nationwide trend is about portrait of a graduate, right? Like, what is the school trying to do? How are we trying to help kids get to that particular point in their life? We said, you know what? We're not going to all own this if it's not learner, because the people who have a teaching license have graduated, so they're not going to see themselves in it, right? So we wanted to make sure that it reflected our big mission of everyone always learning. And so this idea around being an effective communicator, being an inspired, like that you have this passion and something triggers you to innovate, that you are, that you are a critical thinker, that you're somebody who can collaborate, because we know in our world, like that is really one of the most important key skills, that we can work together to solve a problem, that you can be a lifelong learner, and that you can be a global citizen. Because if we can't do those things, then we have not met our goal of learning, right? And we're about learning in our system. And so we developed that. And as we did that, then started working it back into the classroom, because we want to see this be part of every day. What happens in a classroom? The traditional classroom wasn't about these things necessarily. It was about a specific content area and a specific standard, which those are important. But ultimately, we have phones now, we have computers now in our pockets that we can look up a lot of things. We need to have more skills, not just content knowledge. And so as we built those, that's really what came about, is starting to work to develop, what does that mean to a kindergartner in Churchill County? What does that mean to a teacher? What does that mean to moms and dads? And we just finished a big project last school year, actually working with it's called Inspired Ed 2.0 out of Las Vegas, and we had a team that worked to do empathy interviews with members of our community, with students, staff, families, community members, board members, to talk about, like, are these still the 6 attributes? You know, in a broad sense, and what that means underneath that. And it was really a great experience to, like, say, you know, do we need a 2.0? Is this a different iteration? And we got really great feedback so that we can keep moving forward. But that's what we look for in classrooms, is like, tell me how you're doing this. How are you innovating? How are you communicating? And then that's where the state's going to take off. So Ed Extraordinary out of Las Vegas, they actually are leading the work for the state, for the Department of Education, and they actually just Monday night had a great event that had families and parents and across the state, but they're engaging all of the school districts, all of the communities across the state over the next year in developing that state portrait. So we're really looking forward to that.
That's exciting.
Yeah.
Neat. Well, we'll take another little break, and then let's talk real briefly when we come back about the legislative session that's coming up. All right. So we'll be back on Nevada Newsmakers.
Pro Group Management specializes in providing industries with the necessary components to satisfy and exceed workers' comp requirements. Every business has unique needs and specific regulations. Pro Group Management stays ahead of the curve, providing up-to-date services to keep your industry in top form. Discover how we simplify your tasks, improve efficiency, and reduce expense to keep you moving in a positive direction. Pro Group Management, workers' comp that works for you.
As you know, Reno is booming. Toll's development company is helping it grow with insightful design and development, building community with every project, adding beauty, adding excitement, emphasizing our shared humanity. Reno is becoming bigger. Toll's development is helping it become better, more livable, more enjoyable. To learn more, go to tollsdevelopment.com. tollsdevelopment.com.
The Do It Right guys at Nevada Heating have one mission. Your furnace breaks down today, we fix it today. Why freeze for days while your furnace is down when Nevada Heating can get the job done today and you can get warm again? For nearly 50 years, locally owned Nevada Heating has been getting the job done right. Call today at 323-5585 and we'll fix it today. That's 323-5585 or online at nevadaheating.com.
Snorkel personnel lifts are engineered beyond the industry norm to an uncommon level of safety and durability, and with an eye towards sustainability. They're also designed to be simple to operate and maintain. Snorkel, always at the cutting edge of progress.
This is Nevada Newsmakers.
Thanks for coming back to Nevada Newsmakers. We're wrapping up with Summer Stevens, who's gracious enough to come talk to us today. And as you're getting ready to move into the second semester, you also get to move into the legislative session that's coming up. So your role at the state, what are you guys looking at? What's coming?
Fantastic. So, you know, we're excited to kind of on board with the governor-elect and start working with him and his team. So that's been a really big piece of what the Nevada Association of School Superintendents has been doing and looking forward to. Also with the state board, I can say that State board and school superintendents have similar, goals and expectations and the things that we're going to be working toward. There are some pieces of legislation that exist right now that we know need some tweaking. There's sort of practices legislation, the kindergarten start date, some of those. But ultimately, I think first and foremost, we know that the state has a new funding model. We're in our second year of that implementation. The Funding Commission just wrapped up its really big 70-page report to the legislature. And we know that we have to continue to look for ways to fund schools and fund education and learning in Nevada. And so I think you're going to see that coming from all fronts. You're going to see the need to look at how do we do this. I think we're talking about $300 million over the next 10 years to even get to adequate funding. And some of the things that are being asked, we know we need $300 million in the next budget cycle to get to some of those things that people are hoping for. So we definitely know that funding is going to be on everyone's plate. Teacher retention and recruitment. We're not in any different boat than anywhere else, but you know what? We need to worry about ourselves and figure out how do we solve this here in Nevada, the teacher crisis that we're having.
Right. So we'll be looking at that. I think that's one of the most important things right now. Of course, there's always going to be the funding issue.
Yes.
But how do we keep our good teachers and how do we keep that pipeline?
Yes,
full?
Absolutely. And so they're going to look at that for sure over the next few months.
All right. Well, thanks for coming in. I know
you.
we could talk for another hour, but I appreciate you being here today.
For sure.
And thanks for joining us on Nevada Newsmakers.
I'm here at the Carson Valley Inn in Minden with Joey Whitaker. One of the things I love about the Carson Valley Inn here in beautiful downtown Minden is CB steak. I have eaten here so many times. Tell folks what they can expect when they come here to eat.
It's a beautiful room, great service. We have certified Angus beef, seafood, lamb, a great range of appetizers, and wonderful desserts. Jean-Michel's done a great job of selecting some beautiful wines for us. The customers love it, and we've got a great selection of cocktails as well. It's not a long way to get away to the Carson Valley Inn.
Hi, I'm Renee Summerhour, digital news anchor here at 7 at 7. Watch our streaming nonstop newscast immediately with your mobile phone. 7 at 7 is the new way for you to get every bit of local news you need in just 7 minutes. Breaking news, local neighborhood news, weather, and sports are just a click away. Reporters bring you all of what's happening in the Valley. From Roku, Amazon Fire, Apple TV, YouTube, and more. Get every bit of local news you need from the RJ and LVRJ.com.
Brian Culpa Photography was born in the rolling hills of Massachusetts, and now he can help you experience the stunning beauty of Nevada in a whole new way through the power of flight. Flying has always been a passion for Brian, and at Brian Culpa Photography, he can make your imagination soar. Brian has the creative mind and tools to tell your unique story. Experience the bird's eye view at brianculpaphotography.com.
What do you count on? You count on your power every day. At NV Energy, we've always powered what's important to you, but we're not looking at the past. We're focused on the future. While our standards are high, our rates will remain low. And our commitment to renewables isn't just meeting standards, but leading the way. Because you can count on more than just your power. You can count on the company who brings it to you. That's our promise. You can count on it.
Each day, the Children's Advocacy Alliance partners with leaders, legislators, and families across Nevada to improve children's health, education, economic well-being, and safety. We recognize Nevada will be no better than the state of its children. Be a part of this change. Be a supporter of the Children's Advocacy Alliance. For more information, go to caanv.org.
As always, you can watch Nevada Newsmakers 24 hours a day at NevadaNewsmakers.com. See you on the next show.